So an interesting thing happened today. I had to run some errands in town, and I went to a grocery store that we used to visit when I was a kid, and went in there. I had to get some stuff. Now, typically, I will not go down every aisle in the grocery store. I eat fairly clean, and I eat kind of the same thing every day. So I tend to just stay in a couple of aisles of the grocery store. I'm in and I'm out. It's real quick. But today I had to pick up some medicine for my parents, and I had to pass the magazine aisle, and it just brought back a ton of memories. When I was a kid, pre-internet, the only way that we could find out cool stuff about video games was word of mouth at school, or the magazine rack, the infamous magazine rack at a grocery store or something like that. And typically we would do two things and went inside a grocery store, man. We would get at least one quarter from my parents to be able to go and play a game, and then we would always hit up the magazine rack. And if it took my parents, like, let's say 20-30 minutes to shop, sometimes even longer than that, because there was a time we shopped for the whole month, right? We'd go shopping one time for the whole month, and then it was like an hour. We would always hit up the magazine rack. And it was cool, man, because we felt like little ninjas trying to read these magazines, because back in the day, and they probably still do this now, I don't know, maybe they're not as strict, but back in the day, if like a clerk or something saw you reading the magazines for a long period of time, right, they would get upset with you. Sometimes they would tell you to put the magazine down or buy it. Like, they were pretty rude about it, because obviously they're trying to sell the magazine, and if you just sit there and read it, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose. And so you would have to kind of be little ninjas running around this grocery store. And we had a plan too. This is how me and my brother did it. What we'd do, we'd go and we'd grab a magazine. He would get one magazine, I would get another, because typically there was maybe 2 to 4 magazines on the magazine rack. So he would get one, I would get a different one, and we'd start going through them. We'd spend maybe, I don't know, no more than 5 minutes. We'd be in and out. We'd get as much content in our brain as we possibly could. Then we would put the magazines back in a specific spot so we know exactly where to get them when we came back. And then when we go back to our parents, we would kind of talk about what we just read, this, that, and the other, exchange info. Then we'd go back, right? Grab the same magazines and keep reading, right? So we wouldn't get caught, but we'd still get all the information, because it was, you know, my parents didn't believe in spending money on those magazine subscriptions. You know, it was so much a year, Nintendo Power, EGM, Game Pro, all those magazines. So they didn't really believe in spending that money. They thought it was kind of a waste. They did get us a lot of video games and rent us a lot of video games on the weekend. So they weren't like anti-video games. They just didn't think the magazines were all that, you know, relevant or whatever. They thought it was kind of a waste of money. So that's how we ninja'd the magazine rack, so we could find out all the cool info about all the up and coming titles. Imagine if you only had, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes a day to get all your internet, and that was it. You would have to get in there with a plan. And that's kind of what we did with the magazine rack. I mean, there's a part of me that really loves being an adult, but then there's a part of me that really wishes I was a kid again. You know what I mean? No bills, no responsibility. I don't know. There was something kind of neat and cool about that. I don't know, that vibe when I was a kid, that kid vibe. What's a kid story that you have that you would like to share with me in the comments? I'd be interested to hear some crazy stuff that you guys did when y'all were kids, or if you had a magazine rack at your local grocery store, and maybe you did the same thing that we did, because we weren't the only ones, man. A lot of people in our class who didn't get those magazine subscriptions, do those they were going there and ninja it up, son. We'd call each other on the phones, talk about it on the bus. You know, almost got caught. It was crazy, man. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of reflect on that. We'll be back to more E3 Rewinds tomorrow. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. See you right back here in the next one.